Hello, and welcome to Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail. There are only like two things left for Sucro to do for now, and one of them is, well, both of them are role quests. One of them is the physical ranged ones. Also, I did a jumping quest yesterday. The Moonfire Fair jumping quest is probably the most ridiculous jumping quest in the game. It took me several hours, and then I logged out up here, so I could be like, hello, greetings from Jumping Quest. Well, anyway. Thank you for following. Hooray. I guess. Anyway. Ow. Maybe I'll try that again on stream or something at some point, but maybe not. I suppose there's naught to do but to get right to it. I think after I do the rest of the role quests, the Friday spot, if I'm doing streams in that sort of way, will probably be Elden Ring New Game Plus. I did decide on a build because I realized I could back up my save file to use the one re-roll that I had like a billion times to try a bunch of stuff. It turns out that perfume build is actually the fun one for me. Anyway, what's up, Rahul Jha? To steal a steelhog. Greetings. So you have decided to aid my people in retrieving our treasure, yes? They will be glad to know my long and arduous journey from our homeland in the distant south of Yogg-Toroil was not in vain. As for the treasure we would have you recover, it contains the undying essence of an armadillo Toroil. These steelhogs, as we call them, rely on their tough hides to protect themselves from predators. The legends speak of one that lived to an extraordinary age, perhaps due to its natural suit of armor, and came to be known as the Lord of the Forest. At the end of its long life, our ancestors enshrined the Vidral's soul within the Steelhog vessel. For generations since, the divine blessings it bestows have been a great boon to my people. Those under its protection need not fear wild beasts, for fang and claw cannot harm them. This allows us to hunt in the forest without risking our lives. This treasure, so crucial to our people, was stolen by a tall, slender merchant, or rather a man posing as one. He came bearing exotic wares from foreign lands and served alcohol freely, toasting often to new friendships. Many people became caught up in the celebration, and in the morning the merchant was gone, along with the Steelhog vessel. Without it, we cannot bestow its blessing afresh upon our hunters. The effect wanes over time, and one by one we are losing our protection against the savage predators that stalk our lands. As I and my granddaughter Sitolja still possess the treasure's blessing, we have been tasked with locating the Steelhog vessel and returning it to the village. The trail led us here to Tuliolo, where we believe the perpetrator boarded a ship and made good his escape. The journey here has already pushed this decrepit body of mine beyond its natural limits, and a lengthy voyage by sea would likely be my end. Although I urged Sitolja not to make the crossing alone, she was determined to give chase. Given that you hail from across the ocean, your knowledge of these lands will prove invaluable to her. Not only that, but our quarry may use the Steelhog vessel to his own ends. Only a skilled warrior can stand against such a foe. And Sitolja is no warrior. You'll have your treasure in 2 shakes of an armadillo's tail, or it looks like refusal isn't an option. Fine, I'll help. I'll get your treasure back. No problem. I am truly grateful. My granddaughter's first port of call is a place called Alamigo. You see, as the thief took all of his wares with him, The only clue left behind was an empty bottle of whatever grog he was serving. After asking the sailors here, it seemed it was produced in Alamigo with no other leads, Setolja set forth. Once you arrive, she should not be difficult to find. These days, only a handful of Mamulja attempt the journey, most of them British mercenaries. Setolja is a far daintier creature and is sure to have made a favorable impression on the locals. May the Steelhog watch over you. As Setolja has traveled to Alamigo, perhaps you should begin your search by asking around at Rogger's Reach. Alright, fair enough. I do like how these quests still have us going and visiting all of the old areas of the game. Like, in Endwalker, that was kind of like the point of them, because they were all dealing with, you know, like, blasphemy showing up everywhere. And in Dawntrail, we just happened to be going to all of the areas. I guess the only problem with this is, in the next expansion, they're going to have the same amount of role quests, but they're going to gradually have more areas than role quests, so there are just going to be places that you don't go back to, I guess. Yes, I met the Mamulja girl you're after. She was looking for a tall, thin man, some sort of thief, apparently. Sounded a bit like the leader of a gang of bandits that lurks around Rajala, so I told her as much. Chances are that's where she's headed. I hope she stays out of trouble. I believe I heard also that this is also Comedy Time questline a little bit. Yeah, maybe. That seems pretty likely. Or we'll go back to the first or for some part of it, or that'll happen in Point X, or... Mamulja, you say? As it happened, she came over while I was cleaning the cannons. She showed me an empty arak bottle and said she was looking for the bloke it had belonged to. Thing is, that brand's found all over Alamigo, so I wasn't able to help narrow down her search. Curses. Our culprit doesn't have an expensive and particular taste in alcohol. Yes, I saw a Mamulja on my patrols, but he carried an enormous axe. Not at all like the person you describe. I'm sure that won't be relevant. I do really hope that the Point X or the next expansion explores other shards a lot, because I think that's one of the coolest parts about Shadowbringers, is you just have an entirely different place. And like, they haven't really nailed that vibe again in the same way. Because like, we've been to different places, but there's something about it being an entirely different like world that you know nothing about, that like lasts for the entire expansion and isn't just a portion of it too. That makes it very cool. And I'm excited to see more stuff like that. Ouch! Here, let me apply some of this ointment. It's a common remedy where I come from. Wary of them trying to do Shadowbringers too. Yeah, that's fair too. And yeah, I really liked Dawntrail. I'm glad you also really liked Dawntrail, because there's a ton of people saying that it's got a bunch of bad writing in it, etc., etc. I'm not sure if the majority opinion is negative, or if it's just that the people with the positive opinions don't speak up about it much, which I think is usually the case for stuff like this. But I definitely liked Dawntrail a lot, and I'm interested to see where all these new plot hooks go and so on. Howdy. Oh, are you here to lend a hand? This poor soul was attacked by highwaymen, and I could use help tending to his wounds. Hello. Welcome. Don't worry about me. It's my escort who's in trouble. He's in pursuit of the thieves, and I fear he's bitten off more than he can chew. Please, will you aid him? Nod. I'm doing alright so far. Oh hey, they showed this picture in the pre-release stuff as an example of armor. You thieving bastards! Oh no, they cast Protect, but they removed that spell from the game. What? But how? What do you mean when it's gonna start? Behold! Grah! Ah ha ha! Nothing like a bit of divine intervention to tip the scales in my favor. With this artifact in my hands, I am invincible. Unfortunately, I have a gun. Another one, eh? Not that it matters. Hakulja! It's time you earned your coin. Ah, the one with the axe that we've heard so much about. We heard one text box about. I appreciate the assistance, but he wasn't joking about divine intervention. Some strange force pushed me away. I can't even get near them. Sucro does not like this. The Steelhog vessel! Return it at once, and the stolen goods! Oh, you followed me all the way here from your backwater village. Alas, your journey's been for naught. The vessel is mine. I, Shaltafite, will make better use of the artifact than you and your ilk ever could. By the might bestowed upon me, I will become savior to the oppressed and destitute. In light of my grand ambitions, the vessel's power would be wasted on the likes of you. If you cannot hunt without it, might I suggest a change of diet? I hear the acorns are delicious this time of year. At this time of year. Okay then. So your plan is to become a savior by robbing merchants? I mean, like, it depends on the merchant. That could work. Damn it all, I was so close. But now is not the time for regrets. These two are in need of a healer. I'll see them safely to Rhalgr's Reach. Would you mind meeting us there? Once their injuries have been treated, we'd better tell the resistance soldiers what happened. Nod. I wonder how the pacing of these quests would feel if you did them, like, as you leveled up. By the way, I don't know if I've shown this cat on stream. There's a new cat over here. Good cat. That's one of the shared fate unlocks for I think that was Yoctel. Losing all that stock is a bitter pill to swallow, but we're lucky they didn't take our lives as well. Thought I could handle whatever ruffians the desert might throw at us. Some escort I turned out to be. Yeah. What's the description of that minion? A close cousin to the Corel, this feline native to Yoctel has long been revered by the Jabral, who are known to take in lost cubs to raise as capable hunting beasts. This particular creature has taken to you and seems intent on honing its skills at your side. Well, I'm glad we made it to safety without any more trouble. Those bandits wouldn't dare step foot in this place. Ah, how rude of me. I never asked your name, or how you chanced across us, for that matter. You came all the way from Tuliolo at my grandfather's behest? I can't tell you how grateful I am. Nod. As for the highwaymen, they possess the Steelhog vessel, a treasure from my village. Not only does it grant protection from harm, it also produces a potent blast when the barrier is dispelled. As long as our enemies have the vessel, attacks at close quarters will be extremely risky. Okay, here's how they justify this being the ranged DPS questline. Although, as we say in my village, cracks form in even the mightiest of shields. Knowing this, we are careful not to rely too heavily on its power. But now that the Steelhog vessel has been stolen, this selfsame power is being turned against innocent people such as yourselves. I only hope you can forgive me for allowing this to happen. There's nothing to forgive. If anything, we should thank you for coming to our aid. That Schultevite and his lackeys have a lot to answer for. Indeed, we'll give the resistance our testimonies, and with any luck, the information will go some way to clapping those bandits in irons. I'll go with you. The soldiers here need to be warned about the vessel. Oh no, leave that to us. We'll relay what you've told us, word for word. After all, you'll need to move quickly to have any chance of getting your artifact back. When you catch those robbers, give them one from me. Nod. Waving. How about you, Sucro? I hope I can count on you to be there for whatever else comes next. Leave it to me. Ah, I knew it. I sense you're eager to get started, but I need time to plan our next move. Bandits aren't known for being found so easily. I was surprised to see a fellow Mamulja among them. Can't imagine why that Kakulja would work for Schultevite of all people. Yeah, I wonder how this would, like, feel pacing-wise if, say, I had just done that at level 90, and then I had to actually level up to 92 before I could continue. Because these feel like pretty decently paced if you do all of them at once. But I'm not sure how it would feel if I did them, like, separately, like that. Sucro, I heard something that might help us. One of the soldiers has been contending with the same bandits who stole the vessel. I'll go and find him. Give me a moment, would you? Sorry to keep you waiting. Ah, when she told me she'd been sent an assistant, I never would have guessed it'd be the savior of Alamigo herself. You're something of a local celebrity, I take it. I'd love to hear more about that, but for now, let's concentrate on the matter at hand. nod. Yes, quite. The bandits you've been chasing up are behind a spate of recent incidents in Alamigo. What's more, it appears that Shaltavite is part of a larger network known as the Passage of the Unbound, which is spreading its mayhem far and wide. In particular, they've been carrying out raids on trade caravans heading here from Gridania. We've increased patrols along that route, but the bastards strike so quickly that they've usually made good their escape by the time aid arrives. On the rare occasions we've caught them in the act, they use some kind of device, a magic object, to deflect our arrows and send us sprawling. That's the Steelhog vessel. It was stolen from my village, you see. I'm sorry for all the trouble it's caused. The one who took it, Shaltavite, said something about using its power to help the oppressed and destitute. What do you think he meant by that? That sounds familiar. The reports say the thieves were shouting something along those lines during the other raids. They claim the merchants are overworking and underpaying their laborers, and therefore deserve to be targeted. I don't see how stealing a bunch of goods helps the workers, and there's not a shred of evidence that anyone's being exploited. If you ask me, they're just in it for the money. In any case, their reasons won't matter a jot once they're behind bars. But for that, we'll have to catch them first. The most recent incident occurred near Porta Praetoria, one of the waypoints on the road to the palace. If you want to know more, you'd best hear it straight from the commander there. Anyway, I'll send word ahead to let her know you're coming. Assuming you are, that is. It does kind of seem like that. A little bit. Yes, of course. Much appreciated. We'll see how that pans out. This sounds like a promising lead. The soldiers here were good enough to explain the lie of the land around here. The lay of the land, so I shouldn't have any trouble making the journey by myself. I'll see you there. Yeah, it does kind of clash with the intro quests. It's a difficult ask to, like, try and take this person seriously after what we saw, not only in the intro, but in all of the other role quests so far. I think I found the right person, though it's rather difficult to tell who's who with those matching uniforms. Good, you're both here. My colleague at the Reach has told me everything. I can confirm that we've had several sightings of Shaltavite and his gang in recent days. They've even taken to ambushing our patrols. Whereas most brigands would flee from armed and armored soldiers, this lot seems to take pleasure in goading us into attacking. The treasure they carry makes them invulnerable. It can also emit a devastating blast, but that's only effective at short range. Shaltavite wants you to draw your soldiers into close quarters, because there they stand no chance. Well, that explains their uncommon boldness. Thank you. This information will go far in helping us contend with the bandits. Sorry to interrupt. Who might you be? Oh, simple peddlers, my good lady. I myself am of Gridanian stock, and after learning my craft in the markets of Uldar, I now deliver all manner of finery to eager patrons throughout Eorzea. But enough about that. I hope you'll forgive me, but I couldn't help overhearing you mention a gang of highwaymen. So what do you think the odds are that this is just Shaltavite? I don't remember his hair color already, but still. We've heard similar tales from other traders passing through, and it seems some stretches of road are more dangerous than others. In fact, the bandits are most often seen at a specific location not far from here. If you like, we can take you there ourselves. Please, by all means. Wait, Sucro can take care of herself, but I can't allow any more civilians than necessary into an area believed to be teeming with bandits. It seems I've no choice but to ask you to go without me. Sorry, but if those highwaymen did turn up, I wouldn't be much good in a fight. While you head off to investigate, I'll see if there's any more information to be had here. Nod. Nod. Then it's settled. I shall leave our newfound friend in your capable hands. What? If you say so. Nod. I suppose we should be on our way then. If we do run into those highwaymen, you'll protect us, right? Leave it to me. I don't trust them, but leave it to me anyway. Yep. One's headed your way now. You know what to do. What? Unacceptable. Either you do this without my help, or I'll find someone who can. Show some backbone for once. As luck would have it, my fellows and I have yet to be assailed by any bandits around here. Perhaps if the other caravans invested in some proper escorts, they wouldn't be such easy targets. I'll see if they can tell me anything more about Shaltafite and his gang. Be careful out there, won't you? Should you encounter the highwaymen, I trust you'll exercise some degree of restraint. We can't interrogate the suspects if you reduce them to a bloody pulp now, can we? Just put them on their arses and leave the rest to us. Bandits trying to prank Sucro. Unfortunately for them, Sucro is very powerful and has a gun. Do you hear that? Balls, it must be my imagination. Let's not dally around here too long, huh? We're almost there. It's just on the other side of this gully. Actually, if it's all the same to you, we'll wait here while you go on ahead. This is already more than close enough for my liking. We'll, keep watch here. If we see anything suspicious, we'll be sure to scream. Did I say Sucro had a gun? I misspoke. I meant Sucro has like a bajillion ridiculous gadgets. And a gun. As time goes on, Machinist has less and less actual gunshots in its kit. And more everything except for the gun. What? You're back? I mean, welcome back. Yes, that's it. Howdy. You beat them? All of them? Oh, very fortunate. Then I'd best contact the boss. I'm sure he'll want to know all about this. No doubt he's still talking to your friend and the commander. He'll be glad to hear you've come to no harm. Nod. You'll never guess what, boss. She trounced a lot of them. Yes, understood. I'm not quite sure why, but he said they'll be here in a jiffy. Is it true? You beat them all single-handedly? What if the quest just ended now? Gods be good. I'm glad you're on our side. Anyway, I'll take it from here. My, very impressive. And how jolly convenient for those villains to appear exactly where we thought they would, too. But above all, I'm glad no one was hurt. Well, no one important, that is. I'm relieved to see that everyone's safe. It must have taken a lot of courage to bring Sucro here, knowing that danger could be lurking around every corner. Are you sure you're all right? If you're putting on a brave face for our benefit, there's no need, I assure you. No, we're fine. Couldn't be better. Nod. Well then, I'd say that's enough excitement for one day. We'd best continue on our way to the Alamegan Quarter. Wares to sell, deals to broker, that sort of thing. I dare say it'll be some time before any ne'er-do-wells have the gall to descend upon this neck of the, desert. And as for you, my friends, I'd advise you not to stray too far from the beaten path, if you know what's good for you. Ta-ta! There's nothing left for us to do here, so let's head back to Porta Praetoria. Nod. Ah. It's Christmas. In August. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yep, exactly. Well, that was all very strange. One moment they're helping us apprehend criminals, and the next they're racing off to peddle their wares elsewhere. Merchants certainly are a busy lot, aren't they? Not that I'm complaining, of course. With those suspects in custody, I'm sure the Resistance will be able to wring some valuable information from them. I expect all that wringing will take a while, though. It looks as if we've been given an opportunity for a little rest. You've certainly earned it. At a guess, I'd say the Resistance has been interrogating the captured highwaymen for long enough to get some answers from them. With any luck, we may even learn more about where we can find Shaltafite. I'm sure the commander is as eager as we are to put a stop to his misdeeds. Let's go and see if she's unearthed any useful information. There's gonna be a reveal that that merchant was just Shaltafite, and Sucro's gonna make a shocked Pikachu face. Even though she probably is, like, actually already aware. Ah, I was just about to send someone for you. Glad you could save me the bother. I have a favor to ask of you both. I'm going to let the criminal walk free, and I want you to follow him. You see, our questioning has revealed that the bandits are indeed working with Shaltafite. If we cut one of them loose, he might lead us straight to their den. But if the mission fails and you're discovered, you may find yourself confronted with an untold number of outlaws. Of course, I considered sending my own men, but I suspect that by now the bandits know our faces. After Sucro's little display in the gully, I'm sure she alone can handle whatever trouble may come her way. I'll go with her. If this really does lead us to Shaltafite, I need to be there when we find him. Very well, but if it comes to a fight, you stay behind Sucro, understood? I'll have the suspect brought over now, but remember what I said and stay out of sight until he leaves. Ah, stealth time. Don't look at me like that. I said I'm sorry, didn't I? Aye, that you did, several times. As much as it galls me, there's no evidence to contradict your claim that you're acting in self-defense. Nor is there tangible proof of any other wrongdoing. We have no choice but to let you go. You have somewhere to go, I presume. Well, I suppose I could find work loading caravans in Alighieri. Seems as good a place for any for making turning over a new leaf. In that case, I'll have you escorted there. But you'd best keep your nose clean, or we'll come down on you like a tons of bricks. Nod. Turn over a new leaf, my arse. He'll be back among his thieving mates before long, and you'll be right there behind him. For now, all we need to know is the location of their den. Do not attempt to approach the suspects. I'll send word ahead to Alighieri. Once you have the information we need, report to the troops stationed there. This is the chance we've been waiting for. Let's go. Nod. Imagine if this bandit really did decide to turn over a new leaf and let us nowhere, and then never got into contact with any of the other thieves ever again. It was just like a regular guy from now on. Yeah, keeps the outfit, of course. Oh, hey. Hey there, Elto. So, I've been doing custom deliveries off camera. And one of them is for a little dragonette named Elto. And eventually you teach her enough about crafting and gathering that she evolves into this. She becomes a unique sort of dragon that is able to wield tools. And also you can fly around with her help. Also, she has a little hat. Look at her little hat. It's important. And her little hammer and armband and bag. Very good. A lot of the custom delivery stuff is good in general. There he is. So much for finding work in Alighieri. He's only just arrived and he's already leaving town. Now comes the tricky part. Keeping our eyes on him and his eyes off of us, and his eyes off of us. Stick close, but not too close. Nod. Follow the bandit from a distance. Using the power of eggplants, I will do so. Nobody will suspect the eggplant. It's like a plant that's also an egg. Actually, it's like not an egg at all. Gotta make sure I ain't being followed. It's funny that they put a stealth segment here in a very sparsely decorated isn't really the right word. It is kind of from like a game design standpoint, but not from a like this is a place in nature standpoint. There's a sparse amount of stuff here, and yet there's a stealth segment. So, by nature of that, the bandit has to specifically like, what a pretty stone. I bet it's worth a gil or two. This might be the first time there's a stealth section with an NPC buddy. Also, like, but yeah, like, having a stealth segment, which way was it? Left, I think. In this environment means that the bandit has to stop and check for people following him in very specific locations. And only locations where you could conceivably be hiding from him. Is he trying to get rid of us? It's kind of funny. Like, we just patrolled around the single rock that's next to some trees. Looks like I'm not being followed. Also, do you think there's ever going to be a stealth segment? Are those buildings abandoned? Is there ever going to be a stealth segment where the NPC does not start running at some part of it? Could have sworn I heard something. He won't be able to spot us if we keep hidden. Is he gonna start running? Hang on. What happened to the others who got caught? Not my problem, I suppose. Time to head back. Yep. They have one formula for these. He's like comedically recognizable. And like, that's fair, I guess. It's just funny. Ah, music that only happens when things that are a serious threat are happening. Those are the merchants we met at Porta Praetoria. So they just let you go out of the kindness of their hearts, is that it? Not only that, but you came crawling straight back here, leading whoever they sent to track you right to our doorstep. I swear it, no one followed me. The soldiers took me as far as Alighieri and then went back the way they came. I made sure there were specks in the distance before I even set foot outside of the town. I suppose I have no choice but to take you at your word, not that it's worth much. Well, now that this charade is at an end, let us change into something a little less drab. I was hoping he was just going to do like a twirl. Or like just glamour directly into it without moving. Wow, I was right. Sholtify, why did you make us fight that woman without the blessing? She could have killed a lot of us without breaking a sweat. A mere oversight, that is all. Though it pains me to admit it, even with the invulnerability granted by the artifact, the likes of us are ever at the mercy of the truly powerful. I never expected that Mamulja wretch to hire a warrior of such caliber to retrieve the vessel. Pox on those interfering nincompoops. I think that's the only instance of nincompoops in the script so far. Also putting traitor in quotes now. What, the Mamulja girl didn't seem a bad sort? Naive maybe, but it's plain that her heart's in the right place. You truly are pathetic. Not only did you fail miserably, but now you're sympathizing with the enemy. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't rid myself of you permanently. No, please, we owe everything to you, Shaltivite. Without you, we're nothing. They were all in on this from the beginning, with Shaltivite pulling the strings. If this is how he treats his friends, imagine what he'd do to his enemies. You couldn't stay away, could you? What? Imbecile! You led them right to us! Kakulja! Eliminate these vermin! They do always kind of look pathetic with that mask somehow. Let me handle this, Sucro. You're from Toral, working here as a mercenary, yes? The ones who hired you stole the Steelhog vessel from my village. We need its blessing to stand a chance against the beasts of the forest. I can't return home without the vessel. Either you return home empty-handed, or you won't be returning at all. I'd rather not harm a fellow Torali, so get out of here before I change my mind. I bought enough time by listening to your blathering. Don't let me catch you sniffing around our tails. Shelterfight and his underlings are out of sight. I thought I could make that Cocklejaw see sense, but he was clearly in no mood to listen. I'd say our best option is to report to the Resistance members in Aligiri and share what we've learned. Also, I was wrong. Sucro did not make a surprised face at the reveal that that suspicious guy was the suspicious guy. It's tomato time now. The funny thing about Mount Roulette and the mounts that I have unlocked is that it has a very high chance of pulling a random horse or a random Mandragora. I went ahead and gave my account, though I expect he'd like to hear yours as well. Regardless of how things turned out, we appreciate your cooperation in the investigation. Information you've provided has certainly given us a lot to consider. From what I hear, you almost came to blows with the Mammaljaw sellsword, or cell axe, I suppose. I'm glad that it didn't come to violence, especially given the power these bandits have at their disposal. Even so, we thank you for braving such a dangerous mission. No thanks are needed. We're just as much a part of this investigation as the Resistance. And I'm sure we can agree we'll need to work together to take down Shelterfight and his gang. Their performance at Porta Praetoria showed just how cunning they are. It would seem so, yes. I'm told their little act was most convincing. I'll be sure to warn my comrades against any similar shenanigans. As for the two of you, be careful out there. Salute. Nod. As far as horses go, there's like all the elemental horses, the unicorn, the like secret elemental horse, the ultimate elemental horse, 3 sword horses. There's a lot of horses. Oh, did I show that I got this on the stream? I don't think I did. This is the PvP reward mount for this season. It's just from Alexander. So now you sit on it and drive it around, and it's silly. But yeah, how many horses? Yeah, here's Mandragoras. There's 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 10, 11, 12. 12 horses. 1 dozen horses. This has been the counting section of the stream. All things considered, I'd say that went fairly well. Shelterfight used the same trick as the time he came to my village, namely, posing as a simple trader when he's in fact a dastardly thief. Still, not even the most skilled actor could fake the fear in his men's eyes. It appears that Shelterfight has complete control over them, and they're powerless to resist. The only one who didn't seem afraid of him is Kakulja. He even let us go when he had no obligation to do so. I think that if we had the chance to talk, we might find some common ground. I think so too. I knew you would. Never been much of a fighter, but I make up for it in other ways. I'm a fairly good judge of character, for one. For most of my life, I've lived in a remote village, deep in the forest. I had hardly any contact with the outside world, so the thought of talking to strangers was quite daunting at first. But over the course of my journey, I've traveled through all kinds of places. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Wherever you go, people are people. In the end, our cultures and the places where we grew up don't make that big a difference. None of us are perfect, and we each have our faults. And even if it's harder to find in some than in others, I believe there is good in all of us. That's why I hope we have another chance to speak with the thieves and Kakulja. I'm certainly not strong enough to beat any sense into them, so I'll try talking some sense into them instead. Having said, well, all of that, I can't feel even a shred of goodness in that Shalta fight. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough, or perhaps violence is the only language he understands. Things might get a little rough before he's willing to listen. Anyway, we can save him for last. I'll try thinking of a way to reach out to the other members of the gang. Give me a little time, would you? Alright, I have something resembling a plan. First, we'll need to track down the members of Shaltifite's gang. Then we'll try convincing them to leave. Considering how terrified most of them were, I'm sure they're eager to free themselves of Shaltifite and his outbursts. With fewer followers, he'll pose less of a threat to the people of Alamigo, and we'll stand a better chance of taking back the Steelhog vessel. Of course, we now know Kakulja and some of the other members by sight, so it shouldn't take too long to track them down. In that case, let's start looking, or time for another exciting round of Quiz the Locals then. Alright, let's start looking. Sucro will not sass people unless they really deserve it. Rest assured, I'm already a step ahead of you. Besides, if your role is to fend off bandits and the like, mine should be to gather information and whatnot. Does that sound fair to you? Nod. As it happens, our resistance friends stationed here had some interesting news to share. Apparently, the two men posing as merchants that we met before were spotted nearby, engaging in trade and conversing with caravan owners, all to nefarious ends, no doubt. They were last seen in a place called Alagana, so we should head over there right away. One has a beard and the other has blue eyes. Assuming they haven't changed their disguises, they should be fairly easy to find. Sucro's doing this gesture a lot in this set of quests, specifically. Raising one arm and clenching one fist in a way to acknowledge something in a determined fashion. Hey look, it's one of the 12 horses. It's Ice Horse. Mount Roulette is a silly button. I think there's only like one Mandragora mount that I'm missing also, related to like how I have a lot of those. And that's because it's like a rare chance from island gambling. And I sort of stopped caring about gathering island currency as soon as I got all the fashion from it. I think Stormblood maps are still kind of nice in their own way. Like, I think people have complained about how, like, empty and unnecessarily large they seem, or something like that. But just the variety of, like, geography and locations and stuff in this game is nice. Ah! Hello, same disguise people. Howdy. Aha, good work, Sucro. Why, good morning. What can I do for you? You can start by dropping the affable merchant act. It's nothing but a front for your real line of work. Ah, save me, Sholtifite. Is that what you really want? You seemed so scared of him before. Look, we're not here to hurt you. We just want to retrieve the vessel. If you explain what's going on, we might even be able to help you. Why don't you start by telling us your names? Our names? Huh. Come to think of it, not once did Schultevite ask us that. It was always you there, or some undeserved insult instead. Nod. I'm Avenel, and this here is Pepin, both born and bred in Ul'dah. We were struggling to make ends meet until Schultevite, claiming to be a merchant, took us under his wing. Right, he said he was just like us, exploited and sick of bending over backwards for the rich and powerful. Then he showed us the artifact and told us it had the power to change the world for the better. With its blessing, you could shrug off the charge of an aurochs like it was a soft breeze, making you practically invincible. You can imagine how impressed we were, and we did exactly as instructed. At first, he told us to pretend to be merchants so we could scout out vulnerable caravans. Next thing we knew, we were joining him on raids. We never wanted to hurt anyone, but we owed Schultevite for giving us the power to strive for a better life. And we saw what happened to anyone who spoke up against him. It still makes my blood run cold to think of it. Huh. Schultevite mentioned before that he's also from Ul'dah. Assuming he was telling the truth, that is. It seems to me his gang is mostly formed of people from a similar background. What about Kakulja? He's a mercenary, correct? Yes, hired by Schultevite. He's so skilled that I doubt he even needs the blessing. Normally he keeps to himself, but he once told me about his homeland an ocean away. Perhaps it is not unlike my own. Avenel, Pepin, even if you still view us as enemies, we appreciate you telling us the truth. No, we're the ones who should thank you. You've shown us more kindness than Schultevite ever has. Thank you for following. There is one other thing, though. Well? No. Thank you for adding to my follower count with your spam, I guess? Anyway. Although you know about the crimes we've been party to, could you give us some time to straighten things out? Once this is all over, we'll turn ourselves in, I promise. Of course, we're not the only ones looking to cut ties with Schultevite. We'll try to persuade the others to leave the gang. It does seem that way, yeah. Also, these people were so easy to convince. They have no loyalty. Not only that, but with us acting as your men on the inside, we can help you take back your treasure. What do you say? Nod. This plan might just work. Count us in. We'll tell the resistance soldiers to hold off for now and give you the chance to put things right. You won't regret it. We'll return to the den and talk to the others. Till next we meet, be careful. To be honest, that went a lot better than I expected. And although it was fairly obvious from the outset, they confirmed my suspicions about Kakulja traveling here to find work as a mercenary. Do you remember his reaction when we first encountered him? I have a feeling he and I are both from a similar part of Tyrol, and he was surprised to see someone like me here in Eorzea. Whatever the reason, he's let us go twice now. He may be aiding and abetting a nefarious criminal, but I refuse to believe he's a bad person. I think it's worth talking to him, and for that we'll need to create an opportunity. The way he spoke about his homeland to Avenel and Pepin means he probably misses it, which gives me an idea. Where I come from, we have a tradition of using incense burners, and if Kakulja's village is anything like mine, the fragrance will remind him of home. Then, just when he's feeling all homesick and vulnerable, we make our move. The incense itself is made from copal, a type of tree resin. Do you think you collect some of that while I gather the other ingredients? I actually came up with this idea back in Aligiri and asked our resistance associate where we might find copal. The good news is that there should be some in a place called the Last Forest. The bad news is that the smell attracts all sorts of horrible creatures, so try not to get eaten. I'll try to find someone that sells the other ingredients we need. As for the copal, well, I suppose we could just buy some, but there's nothing quite like resin straight from the tree. When it comes to the burner itself, luckily I brought my own, so I'll just give Kakolja mine. After I return with the steelhog vessel to Tuliolo, I can treat myself to a brand new one. Eyeball. Hourman. I feel like Machinist is one of the classes that has the most visual effects happening a lot of the time. Like, they seem kind of over the top a little bit. Just a little bit. Unicorn. Is that copal I smell? This is what it smells like when trees cry, says the description. Oh my, this is quite the find. Once I mix this with the other ingredients, we'll have a batch of traditional incense ready for burning. Unfortunately, the preparation takes a little while, so in the meantime, perhaps you could begin the search for Kakulja. According to the locals, a Mamalja has been seen near the river, which runs through Rust Rock. With all the dust swirling about this place, I can imagine he'd want to wash it all off somewhere. I find myself bathing more than usual here, so I can relate. Nod. Dog. Pet the dog. That's kind of funny, because I was sure that once she said the incense takes a while, that would mean the quest was over, come back later for the next step. Which would, of course, mean it would be instantly done after that, but still. What are you doing here? Oh, there you are. Here, I have a present for you. It's an incense burner. The metal case is an old one I happen to have with me, but I made the incense from fresh ingredients, including copal that Sucro collected. Why not try lighting it? I'm sure the aroma will bring back pleasant memories of home. There's no need. I'd recognize that smell anywhere. But as much as I long to return home, I'd rather not be reminded of what I left behind, what I might never see again. As things stand, I've no choice but to continue working as Schultevite's mercenary, no matter what crimes he commits. But why? The fare for a ship back to Tyrol is enough to buy a mansion here in Eorzea. At least that's what Schultevite told me. He said that if I serve him loyally, he'd cover the cost of my journey home. Hold on a moment. Surely that can't be right. People rich and poor travel from Eorzea to Tuliolo all the time. Well, since I'm unfamiliar with the local customs for negotiations and such, Schultevite offered to speak with the ship's owner in my stead. Compared to the journey from Tyrol to Eorzea, traveling in the opposite direction is far more perilous due to the, weather conditions and so forth. Were it not for Sholtovite's skill at the bargaining table, the price would have been even higher. Or so he said. I've been played for a fool, haven't I? That unscrupulous, thieving snake in the grass. He won't get away with this. I have an idea. You should come with me to Limsalominsa, where I can introduce you to the captain of the merchant ship that brought me here. He's sure to give you passage home for a fair price. To tell the truth, I was rather hoping you'd join us in our cause, but you've already been through enough. Getting you home safe and sound comes first. I don't know what to say. Thank you for a kind offer, but I have unfinished business here. Though I may have been deceived, that is no excuse for the harm and suffering I've caused. I alone must settle the score with Sholtovite once and for all. Whenever you're ready, the offer still stands. There were 2 instances in this cutscene of people abruptly going from standing to walking in a way that was slightly jarring. But that's fine. Not a criticism, just an observation. It's a pity we couldn't join forces, but he's got to do things his own way, I suppose. In any case, let's head back to Alagiri. With all those soldiers around, at least we won't have to worry about bandits, which is more than I can say for this place. Nod. I forgot to use the roulette and just deployed the alpaca instead. With the dedicated alpaca button. I could probably teleport, but still. We have to observe the alpaca. As I'm making this trip, I find myself wondering, how many small streamers actually, like, engage with the various spam or whatever that shows up, or bots. The ones that are like cool free followers on scams.com or whatever. Do people actually click those links? Someone probably does. You know, Kakulja isn't at all like his first impression suggested. He was actually rather sweet and perhaps a touch naive. Still, we can't blame him for being taken in by Sholtovite's lies. And Kakulja wasn't the only one. Can't bring myself to forgive that treacherous viper. Thanks to him, we've been led a merry dance and still have nothing to show for it. With any luck, our newfound allies Avenel and Pepin will have good news for us before long. Fish. Also, the quest description said that Setolja appears to be somewhat discombobulated, which is also a word that's nowhere else in the script, probably. You'll never guess what. Someone I've never met before handed me a letter who said they were asked to deliver it by an entirely different person. There's no way to tell who the message was originally from. As I'm unaccustomed to, well, everything around here, I can't tell if the letter should be taken at face value, or if there's some hidden meaning. Perhaps you could take a look? Nod. Sucro, do you know Thieves' Cant? Sucro is to come to the Alamegan Quarter and meet with a man in spectacles. She must arrive incognito. The instructions are clear enough, but even so, this is as suspicious as month-old milk. On the other hand, it could be from Avenel and Pepin. Well, this smells like a trap. We don't have any better leads. I think we should do as the letter instructs, but proceed with the utmost caution. I'll meet you there. Didn't the letter say I was supposed to come alone? Okay, it actually didn't say that. Incognito, huh? Do I have anything that... Well, no one will ever suspect the mysterious Susan. Also, there was one glamour plate that only had a weapon on it, and that was just so that I can glamour to that weapon on Warrior without changing the glamour plate that I was using for the rest of the outfit from having dyed stuff on it. Which is why there's the axe only plate. The limitations of the glamour system. Sheep. I didn't need to use that sheep. Now that you're here, it's time to get you into disguise. Oh, I already took care of that, don't worry about it. As for me, even the most elaborate costume in the world will do little to keep me hidden in a place like this. I'll stick to the shadows and watch from a safe distance. I took the liberty of picking your outfit for the occasion. Let's hope it fits, eh? The sash and straps are a bit tricky to get right, so if they come undone and your disguise falls apart, just come back to me and I'll help you get dressed again. You must continue wearing these garments. My glasses. I can't see anything. I like how the disguise does not remove my gun. Or my technology lunchbox. I can still fly here, right? God, the behemoth. I'm never prepared for the behemoth. Hello, bespectacled man. You must be Sucro, correct? I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. Our mutual friend Avenel sends his regards. Like him, I and several others have resolved to make a clean break and free ourselves of Shelterfight for good. You and the Mamulja girl have done us a great service by giving us a chance to put things right before reporting us to the Resistance. Now to the matter at hand. No doubt you're wondering why we must resort to such convoluted means to meet with you. Simply put, it's to avoid arousing the suspicions of Shelterfight and those still loyal to him. As for why we've brought you here, there is someone we wish for you to meet. For now, I ask that you remain in disguise. Your cooperation is appreciated. One moment, please. I'm glad we had this chance to meet, but that it were under better circumstances. My attempt to put a stop to Shelterfight's wrongdoing ended in failure. I tried to seize the artifact, but he was ready for me. Even so, it wasn't all for nothing. Hey, why does he have Magitech armor? Shelterfight, where did you get that? Thank you all for joining me in spite of the ever-watchful eye of the Resistance. The time has come to initiate the next phase of my master plan. Until recently, we have concentrated our efforts on liberating wares from hapless merchants, but this was all in service to something far greater. Our disruption of the flow of goods into Alamigo has plunged the markets and, as a consequence, the city itself into chaos, exactly as I'd foreseen. No longer will we be forced to crawl through the mud and lick the boots of the rich and privileged. We shall cast down the oppressors. They will suffer as we have. The meager shall inherit this land. Down with the old order. I have invested our funds into restoring and enhancing discarded Magitech weaponry. Now nothing can stop us from taking over Alamigo. Okay, if you tried to seize the artifact in broad daylight with all of his supporters right there, that might be why your attempt ended in failure. That's enough, Shaltavite. Your treachery ends here. All this time I believed your lies, but no more. Give me the artifact, now. It belongs to Setulja and her people. What? But Kakulja is Shaltavite's right-hand man. Silence! Look at this wretched soul. That Mamulja girl has turned him against me, his one and only benefactor. Be warned, should any of you side with this traitor, no longer shall you bask in the artifact's blessing. Now seize him or face the consequences. A good number of people did not draw their weapons. Yes, that's more like it. Any further interference could place my entire plan in jeopardy. I must act without delay. Alright, but what happens to one of the shields if the explosion of another shield being hit in melee hits that shield? Does it cause a chain reaction? Because that sounds pretty cool, actually. With the artifact's blessing and its shockwaves at their disposal, I was given a beating and thrown into the dirt. Later on, my friend here and a few other sympathizers snuck out and treated my injuries. Nod. More importantly, my attempted mutiny will no doubt have Shaltavite panicking as he struggles to maintain his hold over the rest of the gang. An attack is imminent, with the palace his most likely target. I ask that you relay this to Setulja. At the very least, she has a right to know the whereabouts of the artifact. Nod. Hey, my glasses are back. Wait, why are my glasses back? They were removed by the disguise, but they were replaced by the cutscene. And now they're here on the Mysterious Susan outfit, which looks really silly. There it is. True, true. Bird. So, what happened? Then we were right to trust the sender of the letter after all. We knew Kakulja had a score to settle with Shaltavite, but I had no idea he'd try to take back the vessel as well. Though we may not be working side by side, I'm glad to count him amongst our allies. Speaking of which, we must inform the Resistance about Shaltavite's plan right away. We stand a far better chance of stopping him with their support, but given the power at his disposal, even that may not be enough. I'll try to think of something. In the meantime, you should make whatever preparations you can, as even the smallest advantage may prove crucial. Oh, and I see you've changed back into your usual garments. Not that the outfit I chose didn't suit you, but I think this is more your style. Hey, is this one shorter than the other role quests? Because it sure feels like it. The other ones took me long. Maybe I was just going on tangents more often the other times. Avenel and Pepin are on their way here. Yeah, it's also that this one feels less than the other ones, just like less in general. It's interesting. It's Schultevite. He set his plan in motion. We would have come sooner, but after Kakulja openly opposed him, he would have been even more secret. He became even more secretive than before. He refused to share his schemes with even his most loyal. Kinda, yeah. It's weird. This one definitely feels like there's a lot less going on in it. Now he's used a caravan to smuggle a load of Magitech into the city. He's about to launch an assault on the royal palace. We managed to sneak away, but Schultefite and the others will make them move any moment now. Understood. We'll head there straight away. We've no choice but to face them head on. While I wish there was more I could do to help, I'd best leave the fighting to you. No, what am I saying? There must be a way I can help. The treasure is from my village. I should be the one to solve this. I'm sure you'll think of something on the way. If you're in, you're in. There's no time to waver. Stand back and let me take care of this. I'm sure you'll think of something. I thought I'd find you here. Correct guess. Zetulja, you've already done much for me and the others. You've already done so much for me and the others Schultevite tricked into becoming his accomplices. It would appear it's in your nature to help wherever you can. Nevertheless, your place is not on the battlefield. You must leave that to Sucro and myself. But what about your injuries? They were not so severe to begin with, and those in the gang sympathetic to me provided various bombs to treat the worst of them. I'm glad to know there are a few good eggs among them, but now that we've decided who's going, we need a plan. From the way Schultefite uses the vessel, it's clear there's one thing he hasn't realized yet. As we say in the village, cracks form in even the mightiest of shields. If there's a limit to the blessing's power, we'll find it. Determined gestures and nodding. Whatever you do, you'd better do it quickly. Schultevite and the others will soon reach the palace. We'll share everything we know with the Resistance and ask them to come as quickly as possible. Be careful out there. So, there are Magitech armor present, and we know that this shield is mostly resistance against melee due to the shockwave effect. We just have to overload a Magitech armor cannon directly into the shield. Or something. Disadvantage of using Mount Roulette. I'm tempted to comment on whatever mount I end up with every single time. As I said, my wounds are healed. Even if they weren't, I'd still be here. They must have taken the long way around, since the caravan won't be able to traverse the stairs. We, on the other hand, have no such concerns. Let's take a shortcut and intercept them. Then again, they may try to use the vessel's power to stop our advance. We'd best keep our eyes peeled for danger. You're the best choice to lead the charge, so we'll await your signal. Leading the charge is the backline ranged character. Ready? Well then, it's now or never. Sorry, this charging into battle stuff is all new to me. I won't pretend I'm not scared, but I'll try to stay out of your way. Besides, I can't afford to back down now, knowing what's at stake. Let's show Schultevite who he's dealing with. It is funny that ranged DPS leading the charge is a thing that's happening. Oh, you stole that too, huh? You stole a tunnel armor? Infiltrating the city was almost too easy. Now go, comrades. The smoldering ruins of the old order will be the foundation of our utopia. How'd you get that? That's as far as you go. I thought I'd seen the last of you. Do you not see that this artifact can lift up the meek from under the boots of their oppressors? Not just one isolated tribe, but everyone who's ever known fear. You call me a villain, but it's you who would keep such a liberating power to yourself. You are no better than those we struggle against, and only when your ilk have been eradicated will the world know freedom. The hour has come for us to rise up and take what is rightly ours. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Extremely Shin Myomaru behavior. My whole village might rely on the treasure's blessing, but we would never use it to steal from others. You lie, cheat, and sow nothing but misery. You don't want to cast down the oppressors, you want to be the oppressors. Silence! Enough of your sanctimonious prattle! Unbound, Shaltivite Craven's Creed. Perhaps I'm every bit as wicked as you claim, but what of it? Unfortunately, Shaltivite forgot that he needs to shield the Magitech armor and tunnel armor that are being driven, and not just the drivers. Does your self-righteousness make you better than me? Okay, the Magitech armor is shielded, but... For you and all those who judge me unworthy, my hatred will never die! Okay, why are we doing the comedy music now? Like, obviously this guy's a goober, but like, this hasn't been set up as comedy at all. Remember, cracks form in even the mightiest of shields. This was set up as like serious threat, guy. There must be some truth to it. Don't let up your attack. Keep attacking the barrier. Well, alright then. It's working! Place your trust in the proverb! That was a bad move on my part. I was trying to not get Kakulja deleted. Once I've dealt with you, Alamigo's as good as mine! What the hell's? The barrier's fading. Is this what you meant? That's it, Sucro. If you keep hitting the same spot, it's sure to break. Wait, that was Kakulja. This can't be! Don't just stand there gawping, surround them! You fool, Shaltivite! This is the limit of the artifact's power! This is fun. This, like, whole directional mechanic. This isn't used very often in this game. I wonder why. Meddling curs, let's see what you make of this! But they shatter the barrier. The artifact's power is absolute. Yeah, that sounds about right. Behold the power at my command. Wait. Can I... Oh man, I was hoping the mechanic was to lead the missiles into them. It might have been. Imbeciles, show some backbone! Machinist is not great at multi-target. The Machinist multi-target situation is strange. Still. How can this be happening? You lot keep them occupied. I'm still not sure why we're doing comedy music here. Useless. Do I have to do everything myself? I forgot I could mitigate. Have they ever done those in succession like that before? Oh. I'm not reading all the dialogue, oh well. At this rate, we won't last much longer. Don't give in, Kakulja. You still need to travel back to Tuliolo, don't you? I like how Satolja is healing with potions. You can't lose to someone like Shul to fight. Shining encouragement. I can't believe we're getting a preview of the Mediator healing class. Wow. Oh no, it's Vana all over again. Kind of. You stole the vessel to threaten others, even your own followers. It's time for you to pay. What happened to the blessing? Oh yeah, I made the enemy cast bars large and in the center of the screen. I forgot. I didn't get to use Full Metal Machinist at the end. I still don't really understand why the comedy music was used for that. Or why this questline was so much shorter than the other ones. We got the vessel back, and it's still in one piece! Please, I beg of you, give me the artifact. All the trials I overcame to join the Unbound. Everything I did was for a chance at happiness. Without the blessing, I'm nothing. My enemies will live on unpunished. Enough! I've tried reasoning with you, but it seems there's only one language you understand. Ah! Wow. Deleted. Okay, now it's comedy. See, now there's comedy effects happening. I feel like of all the role quests, this one is the one that doesn't really know what it wants to do as much so far. Like, it doesn't know what tone it's going for, or what tone the role quests are going for, and also it feels rushed. This is a weird one. Compared to, like, the healer one that we did last time, that was, like, the best one so far. Like, this isn't terrible or anything, it's just an oddity that doesn't feel quite finished compared to the other ones. Are you alright? Never better. We surrender! I'd say that Shaltavite's plans for world domination are well and truly over. Not only that, but the Steelhawk vessel is back where it belongs. Or at least it will be soon. Of course, I have you two to thank for everything. I quite literally couldn't have done it without you. Weird quests. I guess this will be one of the shortest streams I've ever done, by the way, because I am committed to only doing this one this time. I need rest and taking care of myself and such. And also, someone who's not here really wanted to see me do the melee one. Aya said she had things to say about it, so that'll wait. It's finally over. Although the Resistance arrived more than a bit late, they've now taken Shaltavite and his cronies into custody. They're lucky we were on hand to confront the gang, or things could have ended very differently. I have to say, my first trip overseas was a lot more eventful than I'd have liked. But I'm glad I had the chance to meet so many interesting people. Well, apart from all the criminals, that is. Nod. As much as I'd like to spend more time seeing the sights and whatnot, I suppose I'd best get the vessel back to Dural. What about you, Kakulja? There's only one thing I can do. Turn myself in, just like Pepin and Avenel. Even if I was dancing to Shaltavite's tune, the fact remains that I committed those crimes of my own free will, and I must pay the penalty. Perhaps if I am one day granted freedom, I'd like to pay my way home with fairly earned coin. The first thing I do upon returning is visit your village and offer my apologies for using the artifact to carry out evil deeds. After that, No, it is too soon to speak of such things. Wherever your journeys lead, you're always welcome in my village. Be sure to come visit one day. How about you, Sucro? If you happen to pass through Tiliolo, my grandfather would love to show his appreciation for all you've done. Maybe I'll see you there? Nod. I guess, like, by the end of it, it did take almost 2 hours, but I think, like, this is... And I did go on tangents less. So maybe they're all about this length, but this still felt shorter. It took me less time to get to the end of it, regardless of how much time it would take from a pure, like, optimal playing no tangents standpoint. But yeah, apparently there are things to be said about the melee DPS one, so that'll be interesting next time. I think the healer one is the best one so far, because it's unashamed about leaning into the comedy. You're returned, Sucro, but pray tell, what has become of my granddaughter? Nod. Why, I'm right here. We did it, grandfather. We took back the Steelhog vessel. My dear, what a relief it is to see you safe and well. Of course, I'm glad you were able to retrieve the treasure, but even that cannot compare to the joy of seeing your smile once more. And to you, Sucro, I must express the sincerest gratitude. No doubt we have you to thank for Satoja's safe return, not to mention that of the vessel as well. Absolutely. I would have been lost without your guidance and bravery in the face of danger. Thank you, truly. Anyway, we should be getting back to the village. No doubt the others will be clamoring to use the Steelhog vessel to go hunting. I'll be coming back to Toliolo at some point, so hopefully we'll run into each other again soon. Another thing I'm realizing during this text box is that, like, this didn't really play into some of the themes that the other role quests so far have been doing either. Like, it sounds like they've retrieved the artifact and they're going to go back to using it in exactly the same way as they did before. With the lesson learned here being don't immediately trust strange merchants, I guess. Whereas, like, a bunch of the other people decided to not rely on their artifact as much, or stop relying on it entirely, or change the ways of their people in some way because of lessons they learned throughout the quest line. And no lessons learned here, except that you can shatter the barrier on purpose to KO a guy in Smash Bros. If you want. That guy got launched off the stadium. It feels like they're missing a lot from this. Maybe they shouldn't have expanded to 5. Maybe. They could have shrunk it back down to 4 or something. Nod. Until next time. Imagine if they tried to do job quests, like, for every individual job still. Here she goes. And still, like, I don't dislike any of the characters in this one or anything. It's just that they missed a lot of what the role quests were doing. It's odd all around. And, like, once they have the epilogue that combines all of these, I'm sure something interesting will come of this. Maybe. Some shields are made to be broken. I guess the lesson that they learned is that you can break the shields? Question mark? Yeah, you can't follow up the Dark Knight quests at all. They are, like, the most completed. But yeah, next time, I guess. Sucro play baseball? This hat is still funny. But I'm not gonna do this right now. I am still gonna just do a one thing per stream. But yeah, next time, Melee. I think I showed this outfit before, but I'm not sure. Maybe you'd missed it. But this is so baseball to me. A 1,000 degrees, yeah. That would be the Vanguard Twin Blades. The Vanguard Dungeon, source of the best glamour in the video game. For many jobs. Not fending, though. Because the fending one removes your tail and your ears, and that's unforgivable. The fending helmet can make you look like a funny robot. But, like, still. I'd like it if it didn't remove the tail and ears. Anyway. Hey, what did my retainers do? I haven't checked them in a bit. Give me a Venture Copper with 2 jet black dye in it as a prank. That'd be really funny, I think. No, instead you gave me a gun. They love to give me guns, too. I almost have enough money for the botanist's work table. Neat. How much is that worth? I almost have enough money to get some sort of future motorcycle. I don't know why I said it like that. I'd probably be able to if I did some roulettes or something. But anyway. Thank you for watching. This has been Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail, a very short stream. And that's okay. Next time on Dawntrail will be the final role quests, and then Friday will become the Elden Ring spot again, I think. As we go through New Game Plus with a perfume build. Monday will be more Etrian Odyssey 3 with only farming. Well, farmers that will eventually have subclasses. And then Wednesday will be more Phantasy Star Portable 2 Infinity. So yeah. Sucro will now take a nap. Also, there's a corgi barking in the background, so you get a bonus corgi bark. But yeah. Thanks for watching. Hope you all have a good rest of your day and or night. And I will see you at the next stream. Good night, everyone.